help us understand and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and slowly, yes, imbibe and put it into practice. I would say I'm not even yet at the KG level, but yes, learning and with the stepping stone, hoping to reach up higher. The highlights of my learning have been that this has proved to be a very great strength of, or a source of strength, I would say, because it doesn't ever leave you feeling down. There is always so much to, like last time Sundariji was saying, life becomes a celebration. You don't feel upset when things don't work out the way you want. You're slowly learning and trying to put it into practice. And since it comes from Lord Krishna himself, Yogeshwara giving it to us directly, whether it was for Arjuna or through you to us, we are really blessed. So it wasn't by chance or accident that we landed here. Lord Krishna had already registered us, and I think the WhatsApp was just a via media to reach you, Guruji. To put it, Lord Krishna in the second chapter talks about Sankhya Yoga. The path.
Hemalata, there is some. Are you all hearing some noise? Yeah. There is some noise that's coming.
1 second, I'll put off the fan. Sorry, I hope it's better now.
Yeah, thank you.
So the path of knowledge, it teaches and guides and shows us how a Viveka Buddhi is very, very essential and leads us to the eternal, unchanging Satyam, that is Atma. And I would like to dwell upon verse 3 of chapter 2. Klaibyam masmagama partha naitatva yupapadyate Shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktotishta parantapa. And in this, Arjuna is being chided by Lord Krishna. Do not be paralyzed into inactivity. You are a resilient warrior. And he calls out, addressing him as Partha, son of Pritha. And this pettiness does not befit you, he says. And this Naitatva Upapadyate, get rid of your Hridaya Daurbalyam, the weakness of your heart, and rise up. You are a Parantapa, scorcherer of foes. And Swami Vivekananda says that this is one of the central teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And in fact, Swami Vivekananda says an atheist is not one who does not believe in God. It is one who does not believe in himself. And you have to have faith in yourself. And that faith is what Krishna is trying to instill in Arjuna. A willingness to change is very important. A conviction that my life can be better. Open to the Lord's advice. Arjuna should be ready to act. As a Kshatriya, it is his duty. And most of the time, our intellect is at war with our personality. And Krishna wants Arjuna to decide to change, because that is the first step to be taken to get up from where he was, trying to get empathy, trying to seek some kind of sympathy also, to think that he need not fight, or yes, I understand, they are your relations, don't worry, don't fight. He did not think Krishna was going to actually chide him and bring him to act. And the conversation, this reminds me of a part of the Mahabharata where a conversation between Lord Krishna and Kunti ensued, where Krishna asks Kunti, tell me, and what, O queen, do I tell your princes who are going to plunge into this terrible war? And Kunti replied, tell them the time for which a Kshatriya, the war prince, is born, that time is upon us. And we all know Arjuna was only awakened to be used as an instrument to fight, to do his duty, live up to his responsibilities, and all actions emanate from Ishvara. We seek in the entire Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is addressed as Partha, and somewhere where I was listening to a talk, it said Partha is used 38 times and Kaunteya is used 24 times, all with a significance. Pritha was not an ordinary queen, and all with significance. So this is basically telling us we should have a willingness to change. We should be open-minded to look at opportunities where we can better ourselves and perform in a better way. Seeking reality, seeking Brahman. And here we have a great guidance through you, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was on mute, I think, while I was talking. Yeah, that was nice. And I think you picked up the thread just from the point before Krishna starts teaching. Clybium Masmagam of Partha. So trying to instill, provoke Arjuna to do the right thing. And sometimes that basic duty is also shaken. We don't know. We probably know what is the right thing to do, but we shy away from it. And so that seems to be the context there. Good. Yeah. Do we have time for one more, JJ? Yeah, good. See you again.
Namaskaram, Guruji. I'm here to express my views about not one, but the entire Karma Yoga. But actually, only I saw it is it should be about second chapter, but I had already prepared some of the slokas which I felt connected with Karma Yoga. Uh, I'll just read whatever I have written. I'm not that much good at telling everything on the screen. I'll just read whatever I have written. All these days in our life, we have heard about the many yogas or yogams, whatever we have heard. So yoga, as I understand, is spiritual and also secular. It is not to be interpreted with a particular religion or deeply attached to spiritualism. It is spiritual, but it should not be deeply attached to spiritualism, which is my understanding. If it is right or wrong, you should correct me. It is the word we use to uplift our body and mind. In my experience, when we say yoga, when you attach the word yoga to anything, we definitely feel something. It is for our body, our mind. This word has been there. So, but all these yogas is not possible without karma yoga. It's the essence of selfless service, detached action, without expecting the fruits of work. That's what we are learning in fourth chapter now. We should not get attached to the fruits. The basic problems I think we humans face in this world are inactivity, idleness, fantasy, thinking too much about product or an object, obsession with rituals. It's also that's falls into this category problems. The Bhagavan For this Bhagavan has already taught us in second chapter number 47. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि. That is, he says, you don't have control or claim over results. You just do your duty. You don't have to. You don't have a choice of inactivity. So now we know what is to be inactive. It is considered equal to death. uh, I've heard people, and often when I ring with someone or when I talk to someone, they say I don't do anything. This is said often by everyone. But how can a person remain without doing any action? Krishna says in chapter 3, Shloka 5, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma kritu का कार्यतेह ह्यवशः कर्म सर्व प्रकृति जैद गुणैः. Now I found this yesterday also. Yesterday when I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, the same line, of course, with the last two to three words changing, the same verse appears in Bhagavan 50th chapter. So when you are fed again and again a concept, it means that is the end. That is the end, and that is the word of God, and nothing can beat that. It says so. Man has to act at least for his physical needs. What we now today we read about this sloka, and it coincides with this sloka also. And its needs, physical needs and impulses are met by action. Even thinking is considered as action. Every individual is born with certain aptitudes and dispositions, but he or she should strive to channel it to reach the highest goal of life. So this has made some little changes in my life, not but not to that point where I will change. Uh, I think I will change in a matter of time. So he also tells Arjuna to do the specific duties assigned by the nature and do it as part of divine service. So this divine service is imbibed in us, every one of us, from the childhood. So niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyayo hya karmanaha shariram sarirayatrapi cha te na praidyate akarmanaha. So it is better to die performing one's appointed duty. Without doing one's own duty, which is bound by karma, you can't you can't live in this world without doing this duty. So in this world, we often hear about job satisfaction also. Youngsters often find themselves like a fish out of water, not doing what you are destined to do, and taking up a job not befitting to their nature is the reason for this battle. So here, the two aspects of karma are shakama karma, action without expectation of fruits, and nishkama karma, without any selfish desire. The second one leads us to liberation from birth and death. But to practice that, we should avoid any disturbances by love, anger, hatred, fear, joy, and sorrow. So these are the very egoistic concepts. But we can change our outlook. We should remember no one gets anything unless he earns it. That's the word we should remember here. This is an eternal law. So we may sometimes think it is not so, but for in the long run we become convinced of it. When you attain certain age and uh, uh, certain part of life, we all get convinced that this is the uh, this is the ultimate thing. We'll have to, so no one get anything unless he owns it, is the word. Thank you, Vinci. That's it.
Good, good, nice. Several slokas you covered. Netam Kuru Karmatvam. Earlier one more shloka, and then Nahi Kasyit Kshanamapi, I think. And before that, Karmanyavadhikarasti from the second chapter. So, attitude towards action to get Antakarana Shuddhi. So, important shlokas. Important shlokas. Okay, good. So, maybe I think we should stop now, no, JJ?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
continue next time.
Yeah, we'll do that. We will chant Dhanvantari sloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amritakalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanathaye Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amritakalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanathaye Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amritakalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanathaye Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Thank you.